today's video, I'm going to be sharing why read alouds are so important and giving you those 10 reasons why. So stay tuned. Like everyone kind of has like this general understanding that read alouds are good for our children and that we should do it. But I want to share some of the science and some of the studies that have been shown for why exactly read alouds are so good. Okay, reason number one is it improves their literacy. So when you are reading books to your children, reading aloud, you don't always have to read something that is specifically on their level. So for me personally, in our family, I have 3 girls, and I have a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 14-year-old. So preschool all the way to high school. When we are doing our read alouds, I am not always reading something that is going to fit all 3 of them into a box when it comes to reading the age recommendation on said books. So, but that's okay. It's just fine because it is still exposing them to vocabulary that they may not have heard yet. And when they hear it from you being repeated over and over again, when they read a book on their own and they come across a word that maybe they've heard before but haven't actually seen before, they can actually, more times than not, figure out what that word is because you have read that to them. So exposure is so good for them. And I can tell you some of the books that I'm going to recommend later, our high schooler is oftentimes listening to younger age range books. And she still enjoys them. So don't get so wrapped up in the specific age range that these books have on them. If it feels like a good fit and you want to read them, or maybe you have children like mine that are kind of spaced out, give it a try because they still enjoy it. I always make sure that she is enjoying it, and she still tells me that she does enjoy the reading, but it does expose them to more vocabulary. Reason number 2 is reading aloud improves our children's comprehension. So it's one thing to be reading aloud to our children, and it's another thing for them to really understand and comprehend what it is that we are reading. So sometimes it depends on the book. Sometimes they might already have incorporated some things where you can stop, pause, and ask some questions. But if not, it's a good thing that maybe at the end of the chapter you kind of discuss, hey, what did you think about how Timmy acted in this way? And just ask those questions and kind of get them engaged so that they remember what it was that they were reading. And if you have more than one child, then they can all kind of ping off of each other different ideas, and it gets them having a conversation and being more open and comfortable with sharing their opinions with others. Reason number 3 is reading aloud can improve our children's long-term memory. So this is often referred to as the production effect. The production effect is essentially the distinction between reading words aloud versus reading them silently. So I kind of like to look at it like if you are actively doing something or training somebody to actively do something as you're like guiding them along, you're more inclined to remember that than if somebody is just telling you to do something. So if you have older children, consider also having them taking turns reading aloud as well. On reason number 4, so reading aloud can reduce stress. Who doesn't need that? We all need that. So reading aloud is actually creating a more peaceful and calming environment. Something that can also happen is called narrative transport. So narrative transport is where you can actually like become a part of the story. You can visualize you're a part of the story. Maybe you're relating to a character in the story. So it is all going off of like the visual and kinesthetic and almost like a time travel effect. So my mom always tells the girls, you can go anywhere you want to in a book. Okay, reason number 5, reading aloud helps our children, and that is through imagination. So this kind of correlates with reason number 4 when we were mentioning narrative transport. So this helps our children kind of imagine themselves being in the story, or maybe kind of visualizing the story, relating to a certain character. This is all helping their imagination, and healthy imagination is great for our kids. It is great for problem solving. It is great for critical thinking, being creative, reducing stress, promotes social skills. There are so many things that actually boosting their imagination is going to do for them. Pretty much all 10 reasons that I'm listing and going over with you is going to help them in such a great way. And number 6, that reading aloud is great for your children is to help our children learn how to read with expression, or it's called prosodic reading. So our children, when they are first learning how to read, they pretty much sound like this when they are reading, and there's no pauses, and there's definitely no expression, because they are just focusing on trying to read. So it's really beneficial that whenever we are doing read alouds, they can put 2 and 2 together, that hey, we can read with the same expression just like how we talk. So it's teaching them to learn how to pause, and the rise and fall structure, and just overall learning to read with expression. 7, why reading aloud is beneficial for our children is that it helps improve their concentration. So with technology, which is great, but I feel like we all kind of struggle with technology and attention spans, and getting our children to concentrate. So reading aloud is actually really beneficial in helping aid this. So it does help them be able to concentrate for longer periods of time. And obviously when they can concentrate for longer periods of time, they can easily get those daily tasks done. And then as they get older and maybe they have something more challenging, they can concentrate and push through to get a task done. So reading aloud is really beneficial in helping aid that. Reason number 8 why you should read aloud to your kid is our kids can start to realize that reading can be for fun, not just because we have to do this for school. It can be for fun. So I think from an early age, we really need to instill in our children the love for reading. Reading obviously reduces stress. It helps them cope better and manage their feelings better. And it also helps promote healthier sleep. So again, like all the other things that I have mentioned so far, I really do think that this should be a goal for us, is to really promote a love for reading in our children. Reason number 9 why reading aloud is so beneficial for our children is that you all get to bond together. So it's not just beneficial for our children, but it is also beneficial for us as well. So when our children are babies and we're reading to them, it's usually a cozy, peaceful relaxing environment. So like I had said earlier, it does promote a less stressful environment, a more calming environment for them. So usually our family will just get on the couch, grab some blankets, get cozy, and just listen while we're reading. It also helps my children chat with one another about the story and just really get comfortable with sharing their thoughts. Reason number 10. So reading aloud is great for cutting down screen time. Save this one for last just because I feel like it is a more obvious reason. And I feel like we all need ways that we can cut down on that for our children. I know for my children, whenever I eliminate and greatly reduce the amount of screen time they get, their behavior is better, they play better together, and their attitudes are in check much better. And ultimately, really, our kids are just looking for a way to spend with us and get that quality time with us. So reading aloud is a good way to do that. We don't have to spend a ton of time doing this either. You don't have to do this for hours a day, even an hour a day. But I think making it a priority whenever you can squeeze that in is great. All right, so now that you have all 10 reasons why reading aloud is important for our children, I hope that you feel empowered and that you want to do it even more with your kids. But what about those of us parents that cannot read aloud to our kids as much as we want? I have a solution for you, and it is called the Yodo player. Yodo player, I love this. I might even make a separate video on the Yodo player and the Tony box. I originally got Riley a Yodo player. It's a mini one, and it's something that she can travel with. She likes to take it outside a lot, but they have these cards. So this one is the Frog and Toad card. So this does not hook up to anything. They do not have access to the internet. They can't scroll. They can't access anything. Literally all they can do is put in a card and listen to a story. That's all they can do. They have different types of cards. They have more like educational ones, like for anatomy, and they have some space cards, and they have kids bop cards. I think we have all of the kids bop cards. So it's still a really fun way to get them engaged with something that is not a screen. So all of these cards, I mean, they have hundreds of cards that you can choose from. My girls love to pick out the cards and their stories, and they look forward to getting these in the mail. We go ahead and do the Yodo Club, which I think is $10 a month. And that way we can pick out cards and they can get new cards every single month. We have this, so she got this to just hold all of this. We got this off of Amazon, but they do have it on Yodo. And this just holds all of her different cards that she has here. And she has lots of cards already thanks to the Yodo Club. You can also make your own. So if you wanted to record your own, put your own stories on there, you can do that as well. I want to show you what this looks like when it comes on. And let's see if I can get the little froggy.
Spring.
So this is where we left off, and that's where it picks it back up.
To Toad's house. Harper Children's Audio presents Frog and Toad Are Friends. Written and read.
So I just went back to the very first chapter, and it shows a pixelated frog, and then it goes into the story. With every chapter, they typically have a different pixelated image. With this bigger one, I keep this kind of with our homeschool supplies, but it'll have like the time. You can actually use this as a nightlight, so all of this will glow. Has this is a separate little jacket that you can get. It comes in like different colors, but really this is such a great tool. Honestly, if my kids want to do a craft or sit down, make bracelets, whatever at the table, I always pull this out for them and have them pick a story. So that way, while they are being creative, they are also listening to something as well. So this is a great extra resource to incorporate read alouds. Like I said, they have the 2 different sizes. Started off with a small one, and I loved it so much that we got a bigger one. All right, so I hope that those resources help you. I also wanted to let you know that if you're watching this on YouTube, that I also have a blog that you can go to. So every time I do a YouTube video, I also do a blog post and vice versa. I said that I would include some of our favorite read alouds. Right now we are reading the Green Ember series, and I think there is 8 books in that whole series. And they're pretty thick books, so they're usually over like 300-ish pages per book. But all of my kids are loving this book. It's about these 2 rabbits that are on this mission to like save their family and the princess and King Jupiter, all of the things. It is really a great story, and we are just now on book number 2. But we have the whole entire set, so we are excited to get through that. One of the other ones that I'm also reading is the Hidden Scrolls book. This one's probably my favorite that we're reading aloud right now. This is going over, each book is going over an adventure in the Bible. So right now,
I feel like I've been here before, familiar with the view. This ain't nothing new, and every time that
and he's tonight, so he is going through that whole process, and it's these 2 children that are going on this adventure, and they get to go back in time and actually witness this. So I love that a dad created these books so that he could get some biblical truth out of this, but yet in a fun and interesting way. I also love that when you're done with the book, it gives you a whole bunch of scripture that you can reference with your child, so you can read, hey, this is where this came from in the Bible. We read about Noah and the ark, and so that was really fun. So I'm excited to read the rest of these books as well. Let's see. Oh, the other one I wanted to mention was the Answers for Kids books. So these are, I love these books. We usually read these at dinner time with our whole entire family. So like when my husband is home, and it's questions that kids have asked about the Bible that are getting answered. And they're really good questions, and there's a whole series of them, and they even have a series for, I think, like older kids / adults. Anyway, I'm not too big on like age ranges. I really enjoy it for everybody. But these we have enjoyed as well, because we're like, oh, interesting. And then we can sit around the table and try to think what we think the answer is going to be to that. But again, some biblical truth there if you are interested in that. Well, that is going to wrap up today's video. So again, please give me a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to my video. I would greatly appreciate that. And go check out my blog. So until next time.
I feel like I've been here before.